Hey there, YouTube. Happy Sunday. Hope it's been a good weekend so far. Let's jump right into the content today. Again, hope the weekend's been restful, productive, and peaceful. And thanks again for joining on the journey. So, yesterday we did the Saturday talk, which looks back at the previous week. Today, we're going to look at the week ahead, and we're going to add some new concepts. And these will be, for this week, are going to be really cool concepts. And I think they'll be very helpful for executing habits for a lot of the times that it's tough to do so, right? And we'll also get into another measure of habit strength. Very quickly, if you're new here, the intro video is very important to this challenge. There's some education that you need to have in place before jumping into day one, and certainly before jumping in here to day 7. So make sure you watch that first. And all the other videos will be waiting for you in a playlist that I've actually arranged that's chronological. So you'll see the intro, then the intro, and then it gets into day 1 where I start providing the daily commentary and just the little tips along the way. So that'll help a lot. All right, so new concepts. We're covering 2 today. The first one is something called context dependence. And the second is the idea of goal-based habits versus identity habits and identity-based habits, excuse me. So these are ones that obviously the context dependence is a measure of habit strength, and the goal versus identity basis for a habit is something that can actually really amp up the strength when we switch it to identity, and I'll demonstrate how. So first up, let's talk context dependence, new measure of habit strength, right? Where let's use the workout example in this case. So it's easy enough. Well, maybe it's not easy. That might be why you're here. But let's say we want to establish a workout habit, right? And we're going to do so commonly in the context of our sort of daily routine where we live, right? Most of us will fall under this type of arrangement. And what I mean is we know where our gym is, we know where we keep our shoes and our gym bag or whatever. And the movements, right, the procedure of going to the gym, right, or of getting a workout in, if we start at where the shoes start, is pretty well known to us from spatial memory, from procedural memory. We know the steps, they become very familiar, and those steps don't really change from day to day, right? That's usually the same type of thing. In fact, sometimes what causes a habit to suffer is boredom, right? So there's nothing novel. We're doing the same thing again. And I understand that. So that's the context of it, right? It's this sort of life circumstance that's around the habit. Context dependence is a way to quantify the amount of dependence that it has on those life circumstances. So in the case of working out, right, of workout habit, let's say that, I've got to do a work trip and I end up staying at a hotel. Now, if that completely obliterates your workout habit executions, then you could say that your workout habit has very high context dependence, because as soon as the context changes, it's much less likely that we get the workout in. Now, I'm not saying to make a heavy adjustment or to really push or anything like that. For now, just concentrate on the habit adoption techniques and strengthening techniques, right, that we've used so far. But just notice that, right? Notice that if something were to change or when something does, I'm sure, many of you might have something that switches this up. Sometimes it's, just something coming up in the morning that would prevent a morning workout or whatever it is that, fits what your habit is. Pay attention to how much your habit depends on having everything in place, on it being a familiar set of surroundings, familiar context, exactly that, right? So later on, much later on, you've noticed this testing section in the tracker. This is where we're going to get into context dependence, right? So it's just something to watch out for. More on the tracker in a bit. But so that's context dependence, and it's the other sort of measure of habit strength. right? Other than habit friction. So a very, very good, strong habit is one that the friction is so low that it feels weird when we don't do it, and that the context dependence is so low that no matter where we are, we get it done. Otherwise, we feel weird about it. If we strengthen it so much that it happens on its own, right, we don't even really have to think about it, that is what's called full automaticity. And that's the holy grail of habit adoption, right? It's one where we would have to exert effort to not do it, right? So that's really what we're aiming for with any habit that we really want to adopt. So that's context dependence. Next, let's move on to goal-based habits versus identity habits, right? Identity habits is a really powerful idea. So back when we started, right, we took on a straightforward habit that we wanted to adopt, or at least that's my assumption. I'm modeling a workout habit, and that's pretty straightforward. It's okay, I want to go to the gym 6 times per week. That's my goal, right? You could say that is a goal-based habit, right? So let's say that, let's use, let's jump back to the tracker. Let's use Friday, day 5 as an example. Okay, where I had a really high level of habit friction, right? And which means I really had to push myself to go. Now, in the decision point, when I'm about to do starting bracketing task, right? Throw my shoes on and begin the mental procedure of working out with that step. There's a threshold of resistance that I have to overcome. And that threshold was pretty strong. It was a 6 out of 10. Right? So if I'm thinking about what my goal was for the habit, then I'm saying, okay, my goal is to get 6 workouts per week in, right? Reliably. So, okay, cool. And that might help me push past this friction amount at the start and take that first step, right? So, okay, get the shoes on. And now the process has begun, and now my traffic lights are green, and now I'm on the way to the gym before I even know it. So, okay, great. If you think in a little different way about what we could do with this, let's shift the psychology a little bit. And there's no requirement to do this, so it just can really add a lot of green lights to our set of mental traffic signals that determine whether or not we start into a habit execution on a given day. So to demonstrate this, listen to the difference in these two statements. So I'm going to work out because my goal is to reliably get 6 workouts per week in. Okay. Now listen to this one. I'm going to work out because I am a fitness-minded person, and that's what I do. Notice the difference in power between those two statements, right? Or you could even say, I've got to get a workout in because I'm a fit person, and that's what I do. This is a little different from mindset, right? The mindset technique video. Watch that video and you'll see what I mean. But that is a much more powerful approach. And particularly if we were explaining how habit friction can come from a place of being too tired or too anxious. And on Friday, day 6, I was coming from a place of being too tired. If I'm very tired and I have the prospect right in front of me of working out, and I use this identity-based statement that takes on this ownership, right? I am a fit person. This is what I do. That will much more powerfully push you past that low energy threshold, right? That high friction threshold, and start the habit execution. It's worked for me many times. I do this regularly. It's not necessary, but it's very powerful. So if you want to add it, absolutely do so. It will very much help. So that's it for the new concepts, right? As we go into Monday, and I haven't done my workout today yet, so I haven't punched it in. I will make sure to do that as soon as it's done today. As we go into the new week, right? Use these new concepts, right? Pay attention to context dependence. And if you choose to, I adopt an identity-based goal, right? Or identity-based habit, right? Versus just a goal-based habit. And see if that makes any difference in the moment for beginning a habit execution on days of high habit friction, right? Or low days. Just see if it affects something, right? And that should make it a little easier. If not, then there might be some mindset that needs adjustment. That's okay. Or you could just really have a terrible day. Sometimes, context dependence, be damned, whatever. You just don't feel like it. Fine. You know what? There's no requirement. Perfection is not the goal here. There's no punishment for a day that you didn't do. It's just for the ongoing assessment of how strong a habit adoption is. So see, if you want to, see if the identity based habit is an idea that the idea that benefits you and your daily habit executions or however you have it structured. And let's do this week similar to the last one, right? So just marking down, tracking our amount of habit friction, right? And successful executions, right? Just like we've been doing. So that's it for new concepts. Good job getting this far. Thank you for joining me along the journey. Quick shout outs to all the subscribers. I can see some of your names when it pops up. If your subscriptions are set to public, then I can actually see who subscribes. So thank you to those that have done that. If they're set to private, I can't, but I know there's a bunch of you out there. So really cool of you to join me. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope this has been of extreme value to you. I've actually been thinking of what to name you all in terms of the community. My first idea was automatons, but that seemed like I was just calling you all robots and not really the feel I was going for. But then today I thought autonomics. That's a little closer to the autonomy name. And it's also the name of the nervous system that keeps us alive. And that feels pretty appropriate and seems kind of cool. So let me know in the comments if you agree, but my early impression is that that's a great fit. And if you don't mind calling you all hello autonomics at the beginning of a video, then I think we've found something that works. So tell me if it's good, tell me if it's terrible. Either way, just let me know. Also wanted to give, let's see, switch off, just stare at the tracker the whole time. Quick shout outs to commenters. Thank you for letting me know your thoughts and questions about things. So by name, DJ T Smith 007, Ali J Ahmed 1991, Andrew Cosentino 6605, Scott Lanigan, Picturing Art, and JF 6873. And by the way, JF, I'm glad you're enjoying the Habit Adoption Challenge video. And please let me know if you have also joined us as well. It's really great to see you in the comments and participating. Thanks so much for the support, and thanks everyone for that. So can't do this without you, and I'm hoping it's helping. Let me know if it is or isn't. And if there is any feedback that you do have, please let me know. That said, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. That way you won't miss any of these update videos, the traditional long form videos that I do about different topics in mental health and mental fitness. They're all there for you and they're meant to help. So there's no reason not to sign up, hit the bell so you know when one comes up, and you'll never miss an episode of that. So thanks so much again. I'm going to see about a habit execution, maybe throw my gym shoes on right about now. So, but yeah, that'll do it. Good luck and have a great week. See you all soon.